in the dense jungles of Lubang Island in the Philippines, far from the front lines and headlines of World War II. A lone figure moved silently, watching, waiting, surviving. His name was Hiroo Onoda, a Japanese intelligence officer trained in unconventional warfare. When the war officially ended in 1945, Onoda didn't surrender, not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't believe it. This is not a myth, it's not folklore, it's one of the most incredible true stories of loyalty, resilience, and a man who waged a one-man war for nearly 3 decades after the world had moved on. Born in 1922 in Japan, Hiroo Onoda joined the Imperial Japanese Army in 1942. He was trained as an intelligence officer in the infamous Nakano School, where he was taught guerrilla tactics, sabotage, survival skills, and most importantly, never to surrender. His mission was to gather intelligence and hold his ground, even behind enemy lines. In December 1944, Onoda was sent to Lubang Island, southwest of Manila. His orders were clear: disrupt enemy activity, and under no circumstances was he to surrender or take his own life. Just weeks after his arrival, American forces landed. The Japanese defenses quickly collapsed, but Onoda and 3 other soldiers fled into the jungle. As far as he was concerned, the war was still raging. When Japan surrendered in August 1945, the world celebrated peace, but in the jungle, Onoda believed the news to be enemy propaganda. Leaflets were dropped from planes, newspapers left on trails, even loudspeakers were used to broadcast the truth: the war is over. But to Onoda, trained to expect deception, it was all a trick. He and his comrades continued their mission. They built hidden shelters, stole food from villagers, and sometimes engaged in firefights. Over the years, his companions either surrendered or were killed in shootouts with local police. By 1972, Onoda was the last man standing. Imagine living alone in the jungle for nearly 30 years, constantly alert, hiding from people, surviving off the land. That was Onoda's world. Despite repeated attempts to contact him, he refused to believe the war was over. It wasn't until 1974, when a young Japanese explorer named Norio Suzuki ventured into the jungle and found Onoda, that the truth finally began to sink in. Suzuki didn't try to trick him. He simply said, "I'm Japanese. The war is over. I came to find you." But still, Onoda said he couldn't surrender without orders from his commanding officer. So Suzuki returned to Japan and found Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, Onoda's former commander, now a bookseller. He flew back to Lubang in full military uniform and issued the formal order: "You are hereby relieved of all military duties." Onoda saluted, and after 29 years laid down his rifle. When Onoda returned to Japan in March 1974, he was greeted as both a hero and an enigma. Some praised his loyalty and discipline. Others criticized him for refusing to see reality. He had killed civilians during his long war, believing them to be enemies. But Onoda expressed no regret for staying true to his orders. "I was a soldier," he said. "I had to follow my mission." He later moved to Brazil, uncomfortable with the changes in post-war Japan, but eventually returned to his homeland, where he opened a survival training school for young people. Onoda passed away in 2014 at the age of 91. In a world that moved on, Onoda stayed behind. For nearly 30 years, he held a jungle island as his battlefield, a rifle as his companion, and a war that had long since ended as his reality. This is the story of Hiroo Onoda, the man who never surrendered.